Мастер-класс двухчасовой, все знают, да, посвящен техникам тест-дизайна и как их применять в тестировании. Собственно, welcome, Alon.
Okay. Yeah? Okay, thank you. So, again, good afternoon. My name is Alon Linetzki. I come from Israel and want us to discuss today optimizing test design using tools. Now, a lot of times I see that test engineers who are doing ISTQB and learn formal test design techniques are not using them so well, or not using them at all, or using them not too often. And I figured out that an easy way for test engineers to use those tools is, well, to have them as, to use those techniques is to have them as tools. And then it's easier and, I don't know, more fun, maybe. It helps the motivation to do the techniques. What I want us to discuss today in this 2-hour session is how we can use some of the tools and some of the techniques to optimize our test design. When we think of the word automation, many think that it is confined only to execution. So when I'm saying test automation in many forums, the first thing that comes into mind is automating your execution, regression tests, or whatever. And the idea behind test automation is a more wider perspective. So I can automate my test design. I can produce test cases using tools. That will be automation as well, isn't it? And maybe it will help me in a more cognitive-oriented, hard task to do more than executing tests. Correct? And what I'm going to demonstrate today is that we can do that using various tools. This topic is taken from a 2-day workshop, so I will not be able to do the 2 days in 2 hours. But this is just to give you a taste of things, and then you can either practice with the tool you got and could install with the email and the license file. The first email was with the problematic license file, and then you got another one which is correct. So if you had any problems the first time, the second file will solve it. Okay. So a little bit about my company to start. We provide solutions worldwide on many aspects: software engineering, quality assurance, and testing. And not just the engineering part, but also the soft skills part: communication, presentation skills, leadership, seminars, building smart teams, working in distributed environments like it is today. Who is working in the distributed environment? I mean, people in other cities or other countries. Yeah, okay. Thank you. We provide audits because when you are doing improvement effort, when you are improving your processes, introducing new methods, new techniques, new tools, you want to keep that investment. And usually after such a job, half a year later or 1 year later, we go and do an audit to check we are on the right path and the improvement is still there. Of course, we give some seminars and workshops and tutorials on many, many aspects. Just one example page of what we do. And of course, you cannot finish without a list of a few customers. Some of them are international, which you will recognize. Some of them are more local to the countries we gave the service to. But in general, they are in military, medical, telecom, banking, insurance, retail, point of sale, audio, video, etc. So, starting with a few nice bugs. The ones who were in my session will probably know those, but most of you were not. So I did a course here on exploratory testing, a full day. So this is a nice one from navigation system, taking a person to the nearest pub, where it's not so near, actually. It is 1,685 miles away, which you'll have to spend 47 hours and a half to get there. So it's a very nice navigation bug. So you have a ferry and a bus and a train and whatever you want. You have to travel in order to get to the nearest pub and have a drink and come back. This is a 90 hours ride without the drinking. A friend of mine sent me that from Norway. Another very nice thing that I love to see, stupid messages by software packages and the applications and systems. And this one was really striking me that the developer wrote this kind of error message, nothing to do. You can go home. Yes. It's archiving, whatever, deleting from archive stuff. Yeah. Well, if you look on the dump behind, probably there is nothing to do, but I would expect something more smart or helpful. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Approach your admin or do this, do that, or something. Nothing to do. Anyway, the third one is about flight tickets that I book online. And here they really try the best to serve their customers and wanted to give me a very nice seat outside. It's a great view, lots of wind. You get an exit seat, probably, and I don't know what F stands for, failure, maybe. Anyway, so don't worry, I have other hobbies than collecting bugs. Starting today is about classification trees. It's a very useful technique that I want us to do. I have to admit, I thought at the beginning that I'll have 150 people with laptops. That's why we sent you the software to install. That's why we did all this effort. But okay, I can demo many things, no problem. Let's start. The challenges we are facing today. One of the major things that I believe you will say yes in your head when I present it is the never-ending changing of scope. It never ends. Who has in its own company the terminology that says a freeze date? Yeah, they have a freeze date. Does it really freeze? It's never freezing, right? The business has more demands. Just a small thing, it's very small. This is a request by a very important customer, and it's never freeze. It's never freeze. So this is a real challenge. The second one is explaining the testing to others. Probably management is one of those people you have to explain testing. Why testing takes too long? This is one of the things I hear mostly. Well, actually two. When I come and speak to vice presidents and directors and stuff like that, they always tell me two things. Alon, testing takes too long and testing costs too much. Well, if you know the statistics and the industry numbers, then it is statistically said that 65% of the effort done in projects is in testing. unit testing is testing. Reviews are considered to be a testing technique. If you count them all, 65% of the effort and budget goes into testing. The most extensive lab in the company usually is the system test lab, right, with all the interfaces. So I always tell them, you know, you are test managers, even if you don't know that. Most of your budget goes to testing. You should realize and know something about testing. And so this is one way to explain to them what testing is. Yeah? On the other hand, when I get to the same boardroom and I ask, what is quality for you? Well, sometimes they know. But when they do, you have so many different views in the room that you ask yourself, okay, so how can you ask engineering to come up with quality if you don't know what quality is for you? And this is explaining testing to management, which has not grown from testing. In which company you are in, the manager of the test manager is the VP R&D or any engineering manager. In most companies I visited, the manager of the test manager, so the test manager reports to VP R&D or another senior manager in engineering who is not familiar with testing so much. This is another challenge. Yeah? Obtain customer sign-off on system test if it's in the contract. Yeah? So customer needs to sign. It's okay, this is approved, and then you get a milestone of the money. It's a challenge. Test design and cases, maintenance taking too long. Yeah? And the problem becomes bigger if you were dealing with test automation, isn't it? Maintenance is the #1 killer of test automation projects, statistically speaking. So, convincing management we need more testers, or we need to spend 20K euro on tools, where they ask us, where is the return on investment? Or as they say in the movie, show me the money. Yes? Where the money goes, how it comes back. Where do I save? Do I save resources? The old approach was bring 2 people on automation in a tool and fire half the team. Well, this is not a very good idea, and it's, I think, not in the manager's head these days so often. Some still thinks that way, I think. You will not shrink your resources with automation. If at all, you will increase your resources within test automation, but in the same time, you'll have more coverage. And that's worth a lot to you, maybe. So, what else? The challenges we face in test design are, well, more project. Some of them are project challenges, resources, availability. I'm sure that not all of you have the luxury of having all the people you want in a project. And of course, time to do design and to execute and to open bugs and to follow them through until they're fixed, etc., etc. Too many tests. I had this from senior managers. You have too many tests. But also, the same amount of time I heard you have too few tests. So please decide, dear managers. Yeah, it takes you too long. You have too many tests. And then sometimes when they find bugs in production, say, you had too few tests. So please decide. Where's this, that? You just decide. Creating detailed test cases is a challenge. Should we do detailed test cases or not? I don't know. It's a question. It depends, exactly. And if we have if our team changes a lot, so new people coming, then detailed test cases will help. If our team is more stable, maybe only bullet points is enough. Yeah. So we can use checklists, we can use other means in order to test. Maintaining the tests, we said, and where to start is also something important. Well, I don't think that people pay too much attention to this question as they should, because let me just give you an example. In most cases, what will I start with? New functionality or regression? What do you think? Regression. New functionality. It depends is the best answer in testing. Because of two reasons. First of all, it really depends. But the second is I have 30 seconds to think of another thing I want to say. So it's always good to say depends. But it really depends. And I gave you this, what to start with, because of another thing which I think companies sometimes confuse. And I asked yesterday in the workshop as well. Customers are more tolerant towards what? A new feature broken or an old feature broken? New feature broken, exactly. Don't forget, yes, if you're used to work with a feature and it works for 2 years and now it's not working, you'll be upset more than a new feature coming and it's not working. Okay, it's new, there's a transition phase, period, whatever. Please also don't forget, regression features pays our salary. Yes? They are there in the market. People buy the system because of what they see with others. It's production systems, it's regression. So let's not confuse things. Yeah? So anyway, this is my view. Could be you have another experience. It's okay. But just to show a point, it's important where to start, because there are many other aspects that maybe we're not taking into account. Maybe it's a strategic customer and it's more important to start with new functionality testing. I don't know. Yeah? So where to start is a real challenge. Lack of prioritization, which I see in companies around the world, and which techniques to use in order to give the best test design. We try to do test design with a min-max approach, correct? Min-max approach meaning a minimum number of test cases to cover maximum risk or maximum requirements. And that's not trivial to do. It's not trivial to analyze. Sure, you can give a team of 30 test engineers in India to write you test cases, and you may be getting 10,000 test cases. But how good they are, how strong they are, how efficient they are, because the numbers are not necessarily the quality of those test cases. And unfortunately, until today, there is no method beside review to evaluate the quality of a test case. You can have all the coverage reports you want. These are only numbers. They tell you nothing in my eyes. Yeah? I have a requirement covered by one test case. Is that good or not? I don't know. I have 100 test cases covering a requirement. Is that good or not? I really don't know. Maybe with the one I need 20, and maybe with the 100 I need 30. So I don't know. We have to review. If you know of any other method that can replace what I just said, please come to me. You'll be a rich man or woman. So, luckily for us, we're going to talk about how to help us resolve some of those challenges. Not all, of course. So we talk about classification trees. It was first introduced by 1979. And just to say a general thing, many of the techniques you learn, and many of the methods you learn, and many of other things in software engineering, you'll see they were invented 30 years ago. And this is very funny and sad at the same time, because The market has not implemented those in a wide perspective, wide spectrum of companies, wide spectrum of products. If they would have, we will have less software engineering problems. Yeah? One thing about software, well, we all install software in our even personal computer. It's the only product where you sign 17 pages of I'm not taking any commitment and responsibility of whatsoever what you do. Correct? Yeah, you sign, I agree, I accept, and installs. If you will start to read once or twice these 17 pages, you'll see that whatever happens, including the burning of your house because of that, they are not responsible. There's the first product you pay to get zero responsibility from the vendor. And I think it's troubling. And I think the basic problem in it relies in the fact that we call it software engineering, but we are far away from being an engineering. We are not engineering anything here. So many defects, so many problems in processes, so many problems with tools, so many problems with many things. We're not yet in a level to be called engineering in my book. Why? Because you look at other disciplines that are engineering, things are different. We build planes, we build cars, we build tractors. And a tractor working is not acceptable to drop in the middle everything and stop for 2 minutes. It's not acceptable. And if people die, they are not responsible. So we are far away from being engineering. We are trying. We are babies in engineering, in my eyes. Anyway, some ideas. So partitions, we'll go through the steps maybe later, but we are partitioning the input domain of the bigger problem or bigger challenge and breaking down system and breaking down into views. And views have their classes, and the manipulation of these values bring us the different scenarios. I'll show you that in a minute in a more visual way. So, the first phase will be to select the testing objects, and we'll see an example. It is a breakdown of the system. We can break down the system in many ways, so there is no one solution, of course. Second will be to design classification tree, and it's really a tree. You'll see it graphically. And the third one will be to generate the combination table based on that tree. Now, a key word here is to generate. The tool will help us to generate the test cases. So if tomorrow the design is changed, we change the classification tree and generate the test cases again. This is how much we need to maintain them. Press a button. Okay? Anybody working with model-based testing tools? Not yet. Okay. I look it up. It's something which I think will come as systems will get more complex in scale. Yeah? So let's take an example. We have an ATM, cash withdrawal, change PIN, balance inquiry, statement request, and any other transaction there is. And we want to draw this classification tree for that ATM. Very simple. This is a business test perspective because we will work on other perspectives as well. So, you see cash withdrawal is a yes and no. Balance inquiry, I want to see it on a screen, on a print, or I don't like balance inquiry altogether. Statement request, changing PIN, and other, I don't know what other is, so I wrote valid, invalid, and no. Yeah? And here below, you see the test cases. Where is it? Okay. You see test cases, so below each leaf on the tree, there's a line, and you combine on the lines 1 to 4 dots that creates a test case. Yeah? If you change the combination, we're changing the dots, you're changing the combination. That's the basic idea. Questions so far? Yes? It's the number of the test case. I have 4 test cases. Here, as the example. It's not end-to-end test. It's a test that is taking each of the options and deciding what to do with it. So when you have a screen, you can choose cache withdraw. You can choose balance inquiry. You can choose, you can choose, you can choose. The test case is saying what I'm doing here. So let's take test case 2. Cache withdraw, no. Balance inquiry, no. Statement request, no. Changing PIN, yes. And I'm now exercising another valid transaction. That will tell the test engineer what to do on the screen. Yes? The method and the tool doesn't have expected results, so you'll have to fill it in. Okay? But this is the way you have to handle your maybe fields, maybe screens, depending on on the level you write the objects in the tree. Okay. So, as this is a business test, I can go deeper and analyze and create a whole tree for cache withdrawal. Okay? Let's do that. So this is functional test. Cache withdrawal is built from amount, confirmation, another transaction maybe, and receipt. Correct? So I may work with the amount, choose the amount. It has to be multiplications of 10, maybe. That's a limitation. And I can ask for a receipt and confirmation, etc. And here you have test cases. The question mark means that sometimes you have a duplicate things, so the tool knows to say to you, look, you have a duplicate here. Yeah? And also, if you haven't chosen anything let's say, if I haven't chosen anything for amount, and this line is without any dots, he will say to me, look, there's a problem here, test case is not complete. Okay? I can go even further down and search for the amount. And the amount can be the length of the amount and the digit, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So, what I wanted to emphasize here, and we're going to see a demo, is that you can use classification trees on any level, from business level to functional level to component level to unit level. It means also that anyone can use the tool. So developers can draw their trees, and we can draw in system test our trees, and someone else will draw their own tree, and that's it. The language is universal, and it's very simple to understand. So you can use this platform for review. You can use this platform for anything. Yeah? If a product manager is seeing this one, he will understand. Yes? It's very simple. It's not technical, and it's very easy to communicate. And I can show him a combination and ask, did you really mean that I can use cache withdraw with, I don't know, with a changing PIN? Is that possible in the ATM? Is this what you intended us to do? Because it's feasible now. So it will help you also fill in the gaps and find maybe bugs in the design. Questions so far? Okay.
How can we be sure that these number of cases is enough? Because it seems that we can miss some important negative ones.
Well, there are no test cases here, isn't it? It's only a breakdown of the system.
And what can we test there?
What can be tested is something that if you ask the tool to do that, it will give you all the combinations in the world. And that's mathematically proven to be everything you need to test. But who tests everything? No one. So you'll have to reduce this set into a minimal set which is feasible for you. This is something that the tool will not replace us. Okay? We still have to know what we're doing. They say a fool with a tool is still a fool. Yes? Okay, so we have to know what we're doing. And actually, we are doing it maybe manually now, and the tool helps us for all the hard work to be done, maybe a little bit automated. Yeah? That's it. Of course, it has some advanced features. I haven't investigated all the tool. It's so deep with many, many options. Yeah, but this is it. Okay, let's go on. So, just to show you an example. Okay. Okay, I hope you can see that. So, this is the tool itself. I'm sorry for the small buttons. They are not ready for 4K screens. And as a good product manager, they told me, next version. So, what you see here is that when I can create, after I created this tree, I have here an outline of what I did. Some work with an outline to build stuff. It's very easy. And what I can do here is, after I build the tree, I can do a few things. First of all, I can do statistics. Before I even wrote any test case or did any generation of test cases, I can see a few things. I can already see that I have let me show you. The Cartesic multiplication will be 72. So if you want all test cases, it will be 72. I know that before I even wrote the test cases with the tool. So it's nice. You have 12 nodes, which are the number of leaves and boxes you have. And also you have the minimal number of test cases and the maximal number of cases here, which are 3 and 72. And this is helpful very much. Question. What is the minimal number of test cases to be used, and you have to explain why, to cover any value on the tree? To cover any value. To cover any value, it's going to be 3, because the box with the highest number of values has 3. And I need to exercise all of them. So I'll need at least 3 lines, right? And let's generate the minimal number of test cases from the tool. So it has this language that you can use. Minimal combination. It took all the boxes with the sign of plus between them. If you want to do the maximal, it will be an asterisk, multiplication. And then I just do a very simple thing. Generate, and OK. And then I have it. That's the minimal number of test cases needed. And this is why, well, first of all, the tool generates one value per box. So you will have to choose one value per box. Also, all boxes need to be chosen with one value. So this is the limitation. Yeah? This is what the engine is doing. So in order, I can pick the cache withdraw, I can exercise the two values with two test cases, right? One with a yes, one with a no. I have to, for the balance inquiry, I have to use three test cases. Yeah? Two of them I can use with the cache withdraw, and an extra one I need for the third value. And this is how you understand why I need three, because the maximum number of values per box is in the balance inquiry, which includes three values. Okay? Quiet. Okay. No. I don't know the prices. They're not very huge. You don't have to use the tool per person. You can use the tool per few people, I guess. But you can, well, first of all, you get the tool until the 19 with the license. And then if you send them a mail to the support saying you've been to the workshop of Alon Linetzki, then you'll get 3 months, I think 6 weeks extension, and then you'll get 6 weeks extension again. So this is like 3 months that you can check if you like the tool or not, and if not, don't use it. In the meantime, you can export the files to Excel, to many other things, so you can continue to use this input later on, even if you don't use the tool. Okay? So, since most of you don't have a laptop, we'll continue just to do our stuff. In the 2-day workshop, we do between 7 to 11 exercises. So this is mostly hands-on. But we're not doing only this tool. We have 2 more, which are free to use. Okay? Okay. This is a different example. And this example is about a conference like this one. And if you are a magazine subscriber, then you get a discount for the conference. If you have a registration very early, you get early birds discount. If you are alumni and have been in the conference in the past, then you get a discount. And then you have 3 types of days. You have the days of the conference, you have the tutorial days, and in parallel to tutorial days, you have a certification course. So one cannot register to tutorial days and certification course together. So the regular, well, what's the minimal number of test cases to cover all values? 3. That's correct. We have either early birds or tutorial days chosen with 3 values, so the minimum number of test cases to cover all the values is 3. Without the dependencies, yes? Because when you are doing combinations, one of the things you need to do is to eliminate infeasible or combinations which cannot happen. Yeah? Like Linux and Internet Explorer in the same configuration. You cannot do it. Okay, so If we calculate how many test cases we need to do here, the maximum will be 144. And if we do the statistics, we find it very easy from the tool. Yeah. Maximum number of test cases is 144. Okay? So, as I said, we need to take off the combinations which are not feasible. And we have to use rules in order to do that. The tool gives us logic operands that we can use, and I will show you how it is done. Here in the rules that I gave you, the pricing, if a delegate registers to certification course, they will not be able to attend the tutorials, which means if tutorials equals 1 or 2 days, and certification is yes, this combination is not feasible. Another combination which is not feasible, 2, no certification and 0 days in conference and no tutorials. So the person doesn't register to anything. So we have to eliminate that combination. He has to register for something. Yeah? Okay. And of course, there are cases. So if to define the rules and to see them, this is valid. Here, I chose to break down early birds and integrate a boundary value analysis. So early birds mean until a certain date you get a discount. I just wrote before that date, on that date, and after that date. So I want to differentiate my test cases based on that. And you can do that, and you can do boundary value analysis on your parameters, and make sure that the combination includes boundary values. Yeah, so it's how to implement that. Here, I see that this guy never registered to any of the days at the conference. And I put these two deliberately. Tutorial days is 1 and certification course is yes, because this is a negative test. So the tool can also flash out in red negative tests. Negative tests are those which do not comply with the rules. And I'll show you in a minute. Okay? And again, negative test. This is not registered to anything at all. And, yeah. So, again, it's challenging to do a hands-on session without laptops. Okay. So, okay. Let me show you dependencies. So we have the pricing of conference, and we have dependency rules. And let me show you one of them. I hope you can see. If not, I will read it to you. Okay. So, what we have here is saying pricing of conference certification course is yes. And if that happens, that leads to tutorial days chosen is 0. Yeah, there's an arrow with A leads to B. That's the first rule to have. The second one was Second one was tutorial days chosen is 1 or it's 2. That leads to certification courses no. So if I'm in tutorial day, 1 day or 2 days, I cannot register to the certification course, right? So that's logic number 2. Now, I have this logic, which says, days at conference is 0, certification course is no, then I have to register to one of the tutorial days, because otherwise I'm not registered to anything. Yes? And these are 3 parameters that one should exist always, so I need all the combinations. And this is why I have more rules on that aspect, which are all of those. Okay. So after writing the rules, I now can show you one thing. In statistics, you have a column here, which is the state of the rule. They are all active now, but I can activate or deactivate the rules and then generate test cases without those rules. When I generate test cases without the rules, I'll have combinations built in. When I activate them, combinations will be out. Okay? So, let's generate something. Let's generate the maximum number of test cases. Remember, the rules are active, so I'll be able to see the negative test cases with red, saying they do not meet the rules. Okay? Okay, here it is. They are now all green, because I had never asked for the rules to be shown. And now there is a light bulb here, activate rule checker, and I light it. And now I see some are with red. If we look at the red, we can see that certification course, yes, and tutorial days chosen is 2. We cannot be on both. So that's a negative, etc., etc. Okay? So you will have here probably 144, no, 144 test cases, and within them you'll find the negative painted in red. Questions so far? Just one thing. I can change a test case. So I want to take this bullet off. You don't see because it's too small, but there's a question mark here because I didn't pick anything for magazine subscriber. And then I will put the dot here. And the question mark will disappear. Although I may have a duplicate test case, but still it's a complete test case. I will return it. You may do another thing, and then I will answer the question. Right-click, and then you can add a test case folder. Okay. So this is test case group I'm adding. It says Kiev, and I'm adding a test case here, and I'm just picking things. On date, alumni, yes, tutorial days, conference days, and I want certification course to be yes. It became red. I will put it into no. It became green again. Okay? So I can construct my test cases as I go along only manually. or I can use an automatic method. Yes? Yes?
At the same time, I mean, the number of test cases is really huge. And
Mm-hmm.
it's almost impossible to test all these combinations manually.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it's almost impossible to automate everything.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I mean, you need some technique to choose which one to test.
Exactly. I have 2 hours to show you. Okay? Otherwise, it's not optimizing. So, with the classification trees, we have benefits. A quick review of the test condition. Maintenance is easier. We just generate. Visibility is easier. And also, buy-in, great visual of gaining acceptance is shown to managers and it's accepted. And used to be free, actually, 3 years ago. It's not anymore. So, let's go on. I want to introduce you to these all pairs. Who knows all pairs? Okay, 8, 9 people. So let's start from the end. The tool includes an all pairs capability algorithm. Okay? That's starting from the end. Exactly. Okay? So you can generate test cases with all pairs, pairwise algorithm, and that will reduce the test cases to what you want, and use dependencies to take off the combinations you don't want. And that's the trick. They have both of them together. Okay? Because many tools don't have dependency capability. Pairwise just select what they want, and that's it. Okay? So let's start from the beginning. The problems. 3 call types with a mobile phone, 3 message types, 3 account types, 2 account types, sorry. And the problem is about 18 combinations. Yes? Good. Another problem or system, car insurance, 3 policy types, 3 storage modes, 4 NCDs. It's when you don't have an accident, you declare you don't have an accident. So this is non-claim, whatever. Years. 2 license types, 5 age categories, 5 engine sizes, and that brings us to 1,800 combinations. Still small compared to your systems. The bad news is the number is very large, as you have just said. If some combinations are not run, then we have a risk. And some combinations are infeasible, which means they cannot be happening together. So all these are the bad news, and exhaustive testing, of course, is impossible, as we all know. And so the pairwise algorithm is like a magic. Okay? It's a magic built on statistics and probabilities, and let's explain what it is. Let's say you have 2 variables, 2 choices, meal. You can choose soup and meat, soup and fish, cheese and meat, cheese and fish. So you have 4 combinations. Now, we add another one. So now we have 9 combinations. Soup with all 3, cheese with all 3, and salad with all 3. Yeah. But now we want to change it. I want to see how the module change when I increase the number of variables and not change the number of values. Yes, because it has to be the same, or it has to be reducing things in any direction, number of values or number of variables. Here I have 2 to the power of 3, and so I have 8 combinations. However, there are 12 pair combinations which combine into 4 test cases. Yes? So although I have 12 pairs, in my test case input, I need to write 3 values, because that's a meal. Correct? I'm ordering a meal. There are 3-course meal. I need to write 3 values. So we saw before that I have 12 pair combinations. But I can write all these 12 pairs in 4 test cases. All the combinations are here, represented. Okay? So that's the idea. I don't have to use all the things. I can use only all the pair combinations. And why is that helping me? We'll see in a minute. First, the good news. If I'm using this, then 81 test cases becomes in pairwise 9. That's a square root number of test cases. And that's a lot. Still, some people will say, but Alon, the risk may be very high if I'm not doing 70-something tests. That might be true, but I'll show you research how it is less probable. Okay? 13 parameter with 3 values, 1.5 million test cases becomes 15 test cases with pairwise. I promised you it's magic. 20 parameters with 10 values is a lot, becoming 180 test cases. Now, your systems are more like the last one, isn't it? Is 180 test cases feasible, even manually? Could be. It depends, say the gentleman, and it is correct. It depends. So, the FDA did the research, not just the FDA. AT&T did the research, Microsoft did the research, many people researched this area. And they found out, FDA, Medical, Federal Drug Association, out of 109 reports that were defects, 98% of them showed they could have been found using pairwise. Who is in medical? Would 2% bugs be enough for you? That depends. If you are class 2, you might hit a safety issue, and that's not correct. So 2% in medical may be not the right number, depending on which medical device you work on or software. But it might be that it is good enough. So I don't know. Some more resources, and this is from the research page itself. So it means that, and it is all based on a statistical analysis and research that says that most of the problems will come from 1 factor or 2 factors together. The rest will come from 3 and above factors. Now, the probability to get 1 or 2 factors is by AT&T 87% covered and by Microsoft 95% covered. But I will sign on 87% any day. Yes? It means that you have covered 87% or 95% of the risk only with executing pairs. Now, that can be my first priority test cases. It doesn't have to be my only test cases. Correct? So I can run, instead of 1.5 million, I can run 15 and say that's my sanity. But there's a big difference in this approach. Why? Because we can explain why we chose those 15. Mathematically, we can explain why we chose this 15. This is something we don't have now. When we do manual or based on intuition and knowledge, you take a spec and you analyze and you do things. Yeah? Here you have a selection which is mathematically proven why you chose this 15, and this is excellent for anyone, management, FDA, whatever body that wants an explanation why you chose this and that. Still, there are things which are, you cannot explain. Like I was working with a company which is doing cosmetic laser devices. Yeah? And they have a laser in different levels, signals, and different bursts with different energy levels. And they do their tests with 3 bursts, any test. The FDA asked them a very simple question that took them a year to figure out. Why do you use 3 bursts and not 4? So sometimes you cannot explain things so easily, yes? I went there to do pairwise analysis for that. That's why I'm telling you. So 70 to 95% of the defects can be found with less than 20% of the total tests. This is excellent. Remember the Pareto, 80-20? It's just to prove it is correct. But scientifically, or mathematically, sorry. So, you'll have more tools. Where's the lady? There are free tools. More tools you can use. You can go into James Buck website or Microsoft MSDN website and just download the tools. And I want to go through the pairwise algorithm. Any questions here yet? Or still open questions? Yes? Yes. Okay, everybody. Okay, slide. Say cheese. Very nice. So if you are hooked up to the Synergy network from the conference, can you upload this slide? It will help others. Okay, so pairwise and all pairs algorithm. So we spoke about potential test case explosion. And here you see also a different kind of problem that can be solved, which is something you probably don't have any problem with, which is a combination of configuration to be tested. Yes? There's always this question. The death metrics of configuration. Yes? It's huge, huge challenge and huge question to ask. Yeah? We cannot exercise 13,000 configurations to test our software. Where should we start? Yeah? It's a $1 million question. So, the all pairs algorithm I'm going to explain. It was developed by James Buck. This is the, well, just to present the problem, we have a phone, a feature, and location. And let's start. We start with the phone. So we take all the values of the phone, Nokia, Ericsson, and Motorola, and we add a feature. Remember, we are looking for pairs. We are doing the algorithm manually, yes? So we look for pairs, so we add up Nokia with voice and text, and Ericsson with voice and text, etc. And then we have, of course, location, so we add UK and overseas to all of those. And we had to switch here because otherwise we didn't have overseas with voice. Correct? Okay. Let's add another parameter with 2 values, tariff. And tariff has 1 and 2. So I add up 1 and 2, and I have to switch this to get a voice with 2 and a text with 1. And this is something we do, and the algorithm is doing that automatically. Let's add another parameter. We are 2, 2, 2, and 2. Is 2 in the power of 4 is 16, right? We are still with 6 test cases. Okay? We add another parameter, AM, PM. And we see that we might have a problem and we need to change the AM, PM. See that what the algorithm is doing is a recursive algorithm, so it's going back, changing and going forward. Okay? Like this, changing and going forward. Okay? It's all to make sure that we don't add more lines, because more lines mean more test cases. Keeping all the pairs without adding lines. That's the goal. It's a min-max, right? Minimum number of test cases with maximum coverage. That's what I want. So the algorithm is working like that. Let's add another one. Variable 6, let's call it. Yeah? So, we have I and j, and here we got into a problem because we cannot swap. So, we have to add 2 lines, 2 test cases with values already covered, but with these values are meant to help us with the all pairs. These, I don't care what you put. You put whatever you want. I'm not adding this test case because of the value Nokia or text or overseas. So you can put whatever you want there. Yeah? And this is how the algorithm works. And I'll show you an example. You'll see a tilde saying, I don't care. Put any value you want. Yeah? So, we are 2 to the power of 6. And 2 to the power of 6 is 128, is it? I think so, isn't it? 2 to the power of 6. But we are with 8 test cases. Yeah? So, in Testona we can practice this as well. So we can generate test cases and choose pairwise. Yes, from the list we have pairwise, and automatically it puts all the parameters inside. You can do pairwise with part of the parameters. This is okay as well. Maybe you have a huge tree, you want to check this one as test cases and that one differently, separated because of screens, because of I don't know what. And this is it, and generate. I will not generate because I already generated those. And instead of 144, I got 10. With around 90% chance I'll find all the bugs there. Yeah? Now, with the tool you can also, and remember that all the dependencies are there. Correct? The dependencies, you cannot register to tutorial days, and so you are really making a very strong case for your test case. Okay? Excellent. Questions so far? Okay. I want to show you another thing. Yes, wait a second. Wait a second, wait a second. In the drop-down, you see I have triple Ys. So I can produce in triplets. Okay? Let's produce triplets and see what happens. No. Yeah, triple Ys. The number of test cases have grown from 10 to 24. So more than double the test cases for adding triplets instead of pairs. If you have a very complex problem like you in your systems, the number will not grow double. It will grow, I don't know, 150 times more. So it's exponentially growing when I add a parameter. Yes? Wait, there was a question here. I will repeat the question later, okay? Yes. We have dependency rules, correct? We have dependency rules running on this, and we have triple wides running on this. Both give us this result. Yes? Again, how it will increase? Quality. Oh, well, it's the added value is that you add from adding more than double test cases is very small, because almost 90% of the risk is covered by one parameter and two parameters. Then adding a third one, a fourth one, a fifth one, until you reach all the parameters, you add a lot of test cases to get something very small in the percentage of risk coverage. It's not measured by the tool. No, it's very subjective to your system, criticality of your system, whatever. Yeah? Any more questions? Okay. I want to show you how I run all pairs. Okay? Let's see. Resolution. Where is resolution? Sorry. No. Never mind. Let's start with this. I hope you will see. So, remember we had an ATM, very simple. If card is okay, you deliver cash. If you go to the PIN, if PIN is okay, you check the balance. If balance is okay, you check the sum. And if the sum is okay, you give the money out. Okay? So, in a very simple notepad, you can write it down. It's a tab delimited, and you give this file to the all pairs algorithm. Okay? is it? Oh, okay. It's here. Yeah, no, it's not about the uppercase. Shut up. Okay. Sorry? Ah, okay. No. Never mind, I will not look it through. I will open another already made, okay? So this is the output we will have. You see a few things. One of the things is these are the test cases organized by number. You see the tilde next to the Y. That means that this line was chosen not by the card OK value, not by the balance OK value, but the other values. So it means you can write a yes or you can write a no. From the algorithm point of view, it doesn't care. Yeah? And below is only pairing details. This is logging of the recursive program, which we don't care about. So what we do is the output is very simple. We take this. We open Excel. We put it in. The last column is also a logging of the algorithm. We don't need it. And we just organize. And that's it. So 2 to the power of 2 to the power of 4, because they're all binary values, binary parameters, is 16, and we got it from pairwise in 6. Okay? What is this? Ah, okay. Just to show you another example. Ah, it's not here. Okay, it's here. So we have 4 values: carrier, class, fare, and ticket. And no, this is the outcome. Sorry. Yeah. Airline, cabin, fare, and fare C. You can't see that. It's tab delimited. I'm looking for an Excel one, which will be more easy to read. Okay. Yeah. This is Picket. It's another tool. I don't want to confuse you. It's Picket. Okay. Carrier type, class, fare, and ticket. For carrier type, we have low-cost B, local, international. For class, we have B, I, and Z. For fare, we have private, business, and corporate. And for ticket, we have economy, business, and first. Okay? And now I'm going to put it in here. And run it. Online travel site. I don't know what happens to it. I'll check it later. Don't know what happened. I'll leave it. Okay, I wanted to show you a complex problem and how it is chewing it, but never mind. We saw a complex problem with the Testona. So 144 became 10. So this is another tool, and it's on satisfice.com website. Downloadable, you don't have to install, it's executable. Okay? So you can use it very nicely. Okay. So, questions so far? Okay. Another tool we have is the Picket. Well, there are many more. We can cover many, but this is not enough time. With the Picket, the only thing which is different, and I'll show you the language, which is very simple. Okay, so it's very simple. You write a comment with the hash. You write a parameter with 2 dots after it, so operating system and then the values, okay? Database, list of databases, client server, whatever, browser, whatever, and then you have a dependency which you can write in if then else. Very simple language. Yes, if client server is CS1, then browser is not B3. Yeah, like, I don't know, Linux and Internet Explorer. And this is how you add dependencies. So very simple, not top delimited. It's very simple language. Takes off all the spaces. And let's try to run it. CTLTA to text. Okay. No. Okay. That's the output. Let's just put it in Excel. Okay, we have 128, but the possibility is 10 times 6 times 10 times 12. 7,200. And we got 128. So 1%. Almost 2. Okay? And for sure, you have this problem with your configurations that you want to reduce the combinations that are not possible between modules on the, I don't know, if you're using a 3-tier configuration, then you say, okay, if I have one server, then the database server needs to be equal to the application server and the web server. So they all need to be with the same operating system, etc., etc. So you have some combinations to write and to overcome this and come up not with many thousands of configurations, but with a very small amount. 128 is nothing compared to 7,000. Yes? You have a question? Yes. No, I don't know if radically, because it depends on the dependency. Could be that it is using only one combination. Like last time with the pricing conference, we said it cannot happen that we have someone registering for 0 number of days, 0 tutorials, and 0 certification course. There's only one combination like that, 0, 0, 0. So it's only taking out one. Yeah? More questions? Okay, so I thank you. We finished before time because all the rest should have been done with a computer that should have been here. So I hope you got from the demo as much as I could. It's very hard to pass the message when you are not using it. And yeah, be sure to contact if you want the full knowledge from me later on at your companies. I thank you and good luck.